AITA for doing nothing to help my dad and stepmom while she's got sick. My stepmom was diagnosed with cancer a few months ago. She's really sick and her and my dad are struggling to keep everything going. They've got 4 kids together, ages 8 and younger, and then there's me 17 male. I don't have a good relationship with them. I did until I was 6. Then things went badly. So my mom passed away when I was only a baby. My dad and stepmom met when I was 2. I really loved her and was close to her, and I remember when it changed. My stepmom didn't want me to spend time with my mom's parents anymore. Mom was their only child and I was their only grandchild, so I was extra special to them. My dad felt bad for them, or so he said, and disagreed with her. I loved spending one Saturday a month with them. My stepmom was jealous. She felt like if she was my mom, then I didn't need my grandparents on mom's side. I remember her sitting me down and asking me to stop seeing my grandparents so I could be her son for real. She said it made her sad when I left, and she didn't like that they confused me about who my mom was. Because I'd say I had 2 moms and I looked like one and the other stayed with me. I didn't want to stop seeing them, and she asked if I felt that way even if it made her sad. I said I didn't want her to be sad, but I loved my grandparents. The relationship changed after that. She stopped being loving and affectionate. She stopped picking me up from school or spending time with me. If I went to hug her, she'd push me off, and if I talked to her, she was cold. One Sunday we were alone because my dad got called into work for an emergency, and I wanted to spend time with her. She told me I hurt her and she didn't want to spend time with me anymore. She told me I wasn't her son anymore and she wasn't my mom. She tried to have the actions have consequences talk, but I didn't really get what she was talking about then. All I knew was she didn't love me anymore. I cried over it and my dad knew. He stayed married and he told me it wouldn't be so bad. After that, if my dad couldn't stay home with me, I had a sitter or I went to my grandparents' house. When my dad and stepmom had their first baby, she said the baby was their first kid and they were first-time parents. My dad kinda corrected her, but not really. Family photos were taken without me, and she used to get so angry at my dad when he'd bring me on family vacations with them. If anyone called me my stepmom's son or called her my mom, she'd lash out at them. She always put a lot of feelings into the not my son part. She'd say I wasn't good enough for her. My dad's parents were cut off from all of us because they pushed her on it, and she said if she wasn't good enough to be my only mom, then she wasn't going to pretend to be anything. I stay as busy as I can, so I'm not home a lot, and that hasn't changed since she got sick. Even when she was in the hospital, I'm angry with Dad for staying with her and having kids with her and letting her treat me like she did. But I accepted that he was more into being her husband than my dad. I'm keeping out of the way and saving and planning to leave when I graduate. My dad has asked for my help a few times, and he and my stepmom have brought up that I'm doing nothing to make this easier. She told me I clearly want her to pass away and stuff. I rolled my eyes at her. My dad told me it was wrong and she could seriously pass away. I asked why it was my problem. I wasn't a part of their family anymore and she did not want me to be thought of as anything to her. Dad told me I could be angry at them and still help because it's the right thing to do. He said my half-siblings hardly know me and I could change it now. I told him nothing needed to change. He said I was taking my anger out on everyone at the wrong time. He said she could pass away, and he put all this emphasis on the point that the doctors aren't sure treatment will work. And he said how sick she's been and how she's been hospitalized twice already. He said we all need to pull together now and I'm not helping anyone.